In the heart of Merita, where the stars shine like diamonds in the velvet sky, the village of Agenabode faced a peculiar problem. Their electricity was as unreliable as a rooster with a broken clock. Lights flickered on and off, leaving the people in darkness more often than not. The villagers, tired of endless power cuts, gathered at the feet of Baba Dirisu, the wise elder whose wisdom stretched back through the ages like the roots of the great baobab.
Baba, how do we fix our light? The West says we need fancy machines, wires, and endless talks of green energy.
Baba Dirisu smiled, his eyes twinkling with mischief.
Ah, my children, you want light? Look around. The fireflies are dancing in the night. The stars do not flicker like our bulbs, and the sun never fails to rise. Why then should we depend on what comes from outside when we have the sun, the wind, and even the thunder at our fingertips?
The villagers blinked, uncertain of Baba's meaning.
Baba, you're not going to tell us to catch fireflies in a jar, are you?
The crowd chuckled, and Baba waved his hand with a laugh.
No, my child, but let me tell you a story of old. Long ago, before wires and switches, our ancestors called upon the elements. They spoke to the winds to spin their grain mills, harnessed the rivers to grind their corn, and praised the sun for drying their harvest. Today, we forget these powers in our land, but they've never left us.
With a quick glance to the sky, Baba Dirisu motioned to a young artisan who had been experimenting quietly in the background. The artisan, following Baba's wisdom, had built simple wind turbines from palm fronds and bamboo. They spun gracefully, using the breath of the Harmattan winds to generate power. Nearby, another elder used solar panels made from local minerals and sand, refined in the village's own small workshop. The crowd gasped as the lights flickered back on not from the unreliable grid, but from their own power.
The answer has always been here, within our land, our knowledge. While others debate and wait for solutions from afar, we need only to look at the elements that have always embraced us.
And so the village of Agenabode thrived, their nights no longer dark, their power drawn from the same forces their ancestors respected and worked with. As the village became self-sufficient, word spread far and wide, and soon other villages came to learn the secret to true, lasting light drawn not from machines or wires, but from the living forces of Merita itself. One evening, a young engineer from the city arrived, skeptical yet curious. He approached Baba Dirisu with a laptop tucked under his arm, speaking in terms of kilowatts and energy grids, confusing the villagers.
Baba, what you've done here is fascinating, but surely you'll need more complex systems to sustain this. The world runs on intricate designs, and Merita can't possibly rely on wind and sun alone.
Baba Dirisu smiled, his eyes twinkling in the dimming light.
Ah, young one, you speak the language of machines, but here we speak the language of the earth. Tell me, does the sun ask for a degree in engineering to shine? Does the river demand calculations to flow?
The village chuckled softly as the young engineer shifted awkwardly, unsure how to respond. Baba leaned closer, his voice warm with wisdom and humor.
Of course, the world has grown more complex, but we must not forget the simplicity that sustains us. You see, when we rely too much on what is outside, we overlook the solutions right beneath our feet.
With that, Baba led the young engineer to the nearby river, where another group of artisans had created a small hydro-powered station using nothing but bamboo, stones, and the natural flow of the water. The engineer's eyes widened as he watched the lights flicker on in the distance, powered entirely by nature's grace.
You see, the future is not about competing with the world, but working with it. When we learn to dance with the elements, they will carry us farther than any machine or foreign grid ever could.
The engineer, humbled and inspired, stayed in the village for weeks, learning from the artisans and elders. By the time he left, he carried with him not only new ideas, but a deep respect for the ancient ways of Merita. And so Agenebode became a beacon of light, not just for its innovative solutions, but for the harmony it represented. As more villages adopted their methods, the once powerless regions of Merita began to thrive, independent of the world's supply chains, powered by the wisdom of their land and ancestors. One evening, as Baba Dirisu gazed at the setting sun, he spoke quietly to the wind.
The greatest power lies not in what we can take, but in what we already hold. And that, my children, is the secret to lighting the way forward.
The village laughed, knowing that in Baba's gentle humor lay the deepest truths, and under the light of their self-powered homes, they danced into the night, the future of Merita glowing brighter with each passing day. Thank you once more, dear friends, for joining us on this journey. Let us pass this wisdom to our children. Please like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and share. Together, let us nurture Merita wisdom and support its mission in creating African Indigenous education resources for all families.